Good afternoon, folks. I'm Dan, and this is, I believe, going to be part 3 of the flap handle on the 701 Zenith. So, last video we got the control stick itself done. It still hasn't been shortened up, and actually it won't get shortened up. I'll have to build a new one of these because this will need to be a little bit longer, the handle itself. And then we'll address that once we get that far. But what I've done so far is I showed it assembled in the last part. Now in this part what I've done is I've made a couple of templates up, and I'm just going to route these out of aluminum. And this is going to be my cutting template. This is the main part, the main design I had for the sides of the flap. Would be approximately like that is what it would have been. And I changed it a little bit. I've moved the slot back a little bit, so we've got a little more clearance from the front of the seat. And this will be the front part. I've left enough material for flanges on both of those. And then this is the template for the cutouts on it. And I'll use a combination of these. I say is just going to be the cutout. So I'm going to cut a couple pieces of 40 thousandths aluminum to make these parts up with. And I'm going to build them oversized. Just cut them oversized to shape both around the outside and down here. Then I'm going to go ahead and bend the flange both from the floor and up against the front of the seat. That way I can make sure that they both match, and we'll route them to match on that. It's a piece of 40 thousandths. Just set it here and move the camera down a little bit so we can see a little bit better what's going on. And there'll be one left and one right. It's not going to matter for the blank which one is which. And we just want a rough outline for these. the main thing we want to do is get these bent, this flange and this flange at 90 degrees. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend the first bend on these, then we'll go back and make our 90-degree angle off of that. Okay, there's the first one. Bend it up to 90 degrees. Now, if we take this part, and assuming we're 90 degrees there, we should be able to set that up like that. Double check our mark, and that looks real good. So now we can bend up the other one. All right, there's our first one. We'll go ahead and build them both, but then what we can do is I will clamp them together. We'll line up our flange line on the bottom, and we'll line up our flange line up top. We'll clamp those together to hold them temporarily. Then we'll go back and put probably 3 or 4 3/16 pins in where our bushings are going to go, and then we'll take it to the router table and route that. I've got both my pieces bent up, set there, got our flange, looks like they match up pretty well. Now I'm going to take them one at a time and clamp them like this, and we want this bottom bend line to match. And then the top bend line to match. Do that both places. Make sure we've got space all the way around. And then what I'll do is I will drill 3 holes, because I made up 3 pins, 3 alignment pins. So what I'll do is take it over to the little drill press. I'll drill the first hole, put a pin in, and drill the next hole, put a pin in, and then the third hole. Actually, I can do 4 holes, but we only need 3 of them. And once those alignment holes are there, I'm not going to worry about the slots yet. Then I'm going to put the 2 halves back together and clamp them together like I have with the template here, and I'll go ahead and drill the other side. That way we know they match. Now I've got these 4 holes drilled, which this is the pivot hole here, and then these 3 will have standoffs to separate the 2 halves and align them. And I went ahead and drilled a 3/16 hole right there, because that'll be the entrance to route those holes. I'll change that out to a 1/4, but since I was still using 3/16, so we'll leave them there. Now once that part's done, then we align both of these halves. So we're flat to the floor. That should be aligned quite nicely, I think. Looks to be pretty true. So now we'll do the same process to drill these holes and put pins back in them to hold that alignment. All right, well, we have both of those drilled. Now we'll set them up with the router template, and I think I will use this one. Now that will set down on the router table just like that, and we'll route the outer edge of it. Okay, there it is. I'll get around and go ahead and route the other one, and then we'll take them back over the table and finish trimming them out and see how they look. Well, here are our two halves routed out. I'm going to trim these back just very quickly. They'll still I have to deburr everything. But let's get these extra flanges off of here. At least part of these extra flanges. Well, there we go. Now the edges will have to, everything's got to be deburred yet. The slots have got to be deburred, but we should be able to set them together. Yeah, that alignment looks pretty good. So I made this template out of tempered hardboard, and it's beat up pretty bad because you have to, well, I guess you don't have to, but I lubricated the edge where the router was cutting it with WD-40, and that really softened that tempered hardboard. So the way it should assemble here, let's see, let's take a couple of clamps and just see if we can't assemble this a little bit. We'll see how it's gonna work. Oh, that hole's a little small, looks like. There we go. And I'll build standoffs, 3 sets of standoffs, one there, and one there. And we'll just bolt those together. Sit right there. This will rivet to the seat front. This will rivet to the floor. Good. Yeah, I think that looks good. I'll go ahead, deburr it, get things set up. I'm going to take it out and measure it up in the plane just to make sure it sits about where I think it's going to. So next time we'll install it in the airplane, build the standoffs or the spreaders to go in there, and kind of get it final fitted. If you enjoy these videos, hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and share them. Give me a thumbs up if you'd like, and leave any comments you've got for me below. I'd enjoy hearing them, whether they're good, bad, or otherwise. Thanks for taking the time to watch.